Big Deke mock draft 1.0. Big Deke news. Yep, it's finally here. First mock draft. It's actually, I would say, a shame it's taken me this long to actually put out my first mock draft. We're pretty deep into the offseason. I should be on 3.0 at this point, not 1.0. Better late than never, though. We've been busy, man. There's been a lot of drama. There's been a lot of headlines, Aaron Rodgers information to go over, rumors, reports. We're here on the mock draft, though, today. So, with this being mock draft 1.0, it's kind of just like knee-jerk reaction. You know, rough draft. You're easing yourself into it. Not trying to go all the way there with the full 7 rounds or anything. Woke up on a Sunday morning. Went to the PFF mock draft simulator, and this was the result. So, looking back, there's regrets. There's things I would probably do differently, but this is mock draft 1.0. We will learn, and we will be better moving forward, and we'll probably add rounds as time goes on. 2.0, maybe we get up to round 4. 3.0, we get up to round 5, all the way to full round 7 mock draft at some point before the actual draft happens. But let's get into this. We'll go round by round. First round, Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State. This was the easiest pick because he was just available. I mean, I've been talking about the Steelers drafting a receiver in the first round. Me personally, I think Jordan Tyson is the most talented, probably, if healthy, the best receiver in this draft class. It's between him and Carnell Tate. Different play styles. Carnell Tate probably the safer pick. Jordan Tyson with the injuries. Odell Beckham type of ceiling. The problem with that is he also has injury history like Odell Beckham. But he was the best receiver available at this point at pick 21. Carnell Tate, Lemon were gone. I think after Tyson, Cooper from Indiana was available. But I think Tyson is in that top tier receivers, arguably the best receiver in this class. The fact that he dropped to 21, I think, is a gift for the Steelers. And you got to take it. No-brainer pick. You take Jordan Tyson. I think the risk is worth the reward. I think he's also a perfect fit for this Mike McCarthy offense with the new receiver we just acquired and Michael Pittman being here alongside DK Metcalf as your primary outside guys. Jordan Tyson can play both inside and outside. So if there's times you want to bump Pittman into the slot, you could take Jordan on the outside, and he could be a dynamic playmaker out there on the perimeter. I think he would fit really good because of the versatility. The only concern I have with him is the injuries, and that is real. Your best ability is your availability. So you would just have to hope and pray that he had all of his injuries in college. And the pros, it'll be different. But sometimes when you have injuries, it's something that, like, follows you. It's almost like Joe Burrow. Like, with him, you want to say it's fluky because it is kind of fluky, the random injuries, but he's just injury prone. There's some guys that just get injured for whatever reason, and so far Jordan Tyson is one of those guys. But you got to take him at 21. You just have to. He falls to you at 21. You need a receiver. Like, I have tunnel vision in the first round for the Steelers at this point. Unless we make a move in free agency, we got to take a receiver, and Jordan Tyson would be the pick in round 1 if available, and he was in this mock draft simulator. Round 2, probably throwing you a little curveball here. Jennings Dunker, tackle out of Iowa. At this point in the draft, he was the best offensive lineman available. He balled out at the combine, showcased some really good athleticism, and even though he was Iowa's starting right tackle, solid player for his career there, he's best projected to bump inside to guard. And what do the Steelers need as we sit here right now? A guard. And I think Jennings Dunker will be good competition for Spencer Anderson, or even if you want to bump Dylan Cook or Broderick Jones to the inside. I mean, that would be a hell of a 3-way battle in training camp between Jennings Dunker, Broderick Jones, and Spencer Anderson for the starting left guard spot. Whoever elevates and comes out on top in said battle, you would be feeling pretty good about your left guard spot week 1. Just saying. I mean, if you're drafting a dude in the second round, you got a former first-round pick in Broderick Jones competing too, along with Spencer Anderson, who we feel pretty good about with his development over the years. I think it's just extra insurance on our offensive line that we could use right now, But if we make a move in free agency and add a starting veteran, then maybe this pick would change. I know a lot are thinking we should go safety or cornerback round 2. I would just rather bolster up the offensive line at this point. I think we have 4 solid, starting caliber safeties right now. We got a ton of cornerbacks. I get it doesn't hurt to add a guy to help you build for the future, get a guy in the system, and they could maybe be a starter year 2, year 3. If it's cornerback, I mean, you got your guy alongside JPJ, although we signed Jamel Dean to a multi-year contract. You know what I mean? So I could see why safety maybe, because we only have Brisker on a 1-year deal. Jalen Ramsey's getting up there in age. Deshaun Elliott's only on a 1-year deal. So I would understand that. But I don't think there's room for a safety. I don't really think there's much more room for anyone in the secondary to get serious playing time in 2026. Whereas with Jennings Dunker, if you take someone on the offensive line, they could potentially be your starting guard in year 1. So that's why I prefer tackle, or I guess not necessarily just tackle with Jennings Dunker. He has that versatility, but he's most likely going to be a guard with this round 2 pick. Round 3, I think we could use someone as Patrick Queen's potential replacement, a guy to get into the system and develop, be that guy in 2027 and going forward. So that's why I took linebacker out of Texas, Anthony Hill Jr. He was the best linebacker available, and I even did some research before making this selection. Just wanted to make sure, because I think it was between him. I can't remember if there's another linebacker that was out there. It wasn't the dude from Pitt. It wasn't Lewis from Pitt, because I probably just would have taken him. But there's an argument for taking Hill over Lewis anyway because of Hill's size. Lewis a little bit more smaller. I do like him. I think he would be a great pick at round 3, but there's pros and cons to each of their games. And I like Anthony Hill, man, as almost like a throwback Steeler linebacker. Ran pretty fast at the combine. I think ran faster than expected, but he's like a downhill thumping dude, but then rangy as well, like pretty decent in coverage. Not the best in man, but, you know, if you're talking about your future inside linebackers being Peyton Wilson and maybe Anthony Hill, and you're moving off of Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson is more of the rangy, fast, better in coverage inside linebacker. You want someone to set the tone and to be able to run stop, fit the gaps, and just be a good, an excellent run defender. I think Anthony Hill would do that. I think he would be better than Kyle Lewis in the pros in that regard. Even though, again, I wouldn't mind taking Kyle Lewis either if he was available at this point. He wasn't. I would have had a tough decision to make. But I like this Anthony Hill pick. And based off some of the research I was doing, he's arguably like a top 5 linebacker in this draft class. And I don't know why PFF gave me a D+ for this pick. They have him ranked 92. They think I reached for him, but I think PFF is wrong, just like they've been on a lot of their grades in the past. Round 3, pick 85. We'll just go over these last 2 picks briefly. Keelan Rutledge, guard. See, this is where I might have overinvested in the offensive line here. This might have been stupid, but I don't think you could overdo depth on offensive line. I think you would have a really nice starting, or not starting, like top 7 or 8, though. If you draft Jennings Dunker, you also have Keelan Rutledge combined with the 6 that you already have in-house, like the top 6 with Mason McCormick, Troy Fautanu, Zach Frazier, Broderick Jones, Dylan Cook, and Spencer Anderson. You have those 6 combined with 2 guys you take in the first 3 rounds of this draft class. It's like you got a really solid offensive line, not only for the now, but for the future. Maybe we could have went safety here. I can't remember who was available. Maybe we could have went safety or cornerback. Maybe overdid it on the offensive line with Keelan Rutledge, but he's arguably a top 5 or 6 interior offensive lineman, and if you're taking him at round 3, pick 85, that feels like a steal. And then with Ted Hurst, this is just an upside play. I think Malachi Fields was available. You could definitely make an argument for him. He has a similar play style. His most obvious or most often used pro comparison is Michael Pittman. And we have Michael Pittman here. So who better to learn from in being like a big-bodied receiver that's a better route runner that people would expect and a good contested catch guy than someone like Michael Pittman, who that type of prototype is his claim to fame. Ted Hurst is more of just like a high upside dude, though, with the talent, the speed that he possesses, the size. He played at Georgia State, though, so there's a little bit unknown there. Worse competition, but he was productive. Showed out at the Senior Bowl. So I liked it as a high upside pick. If we go Jordan Tyson, you already have Pittman, DK Metcalf, we have Roman Wilson. Doesn't hurt to go for more upside and try to go for ceiling as opposed to go for something more safe, and that's what I think Malachi Fields offers compared to Ted Hurst. But let me know your thoughts on this mock draft 1.0 that I did. PFF is saying I'm in the bottom 25% of Steeler drafts. They give me an overall draft grade B-. I wouldn't say B-. I would give me an A-. I think this was a solid draft. Maybe I overdid it on the offensive line, but who's saying that that's ever really a bad thing? If you get 2 quality offensive linemen in here that can play on that interior and help us out, be competition for a spot that remains vacant as we sit here right now in this portion of the offseason, yeah, not bad at all. Maybe we could have went defense in round 3, an extra defender there. But are we really stressing about defensive line like that? No. Yeah, you could argue a safety. But, again, the safety just isn't playing at all. And you could say Keelan Rutledge most likely wouldn't be playing. But I think I'd rather just invest a little bit more on offense these days for the Steelers compared to how much we've invested in defense over the past however long. Maybe it's just time to do a little bit of a switch up. Have over-insurance, have extra guys on the offensive side of the ball, particularly in this case the offensive line, and also receiver. Drafted 2 receivers in the first 3 rounds. But again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Hope you enjoyed. Stay chillin'. Peace.